Again, good morning, good people. My name is Dorian DeBar. I proudly serve as president of Decide DeKalb Development Authority. And again, if you didn't hear me earlier, we are the economic development arm for DeKalb County government. We have a very strong team, and we definitely do a great job of promoting economic development and growth here in DeKalb County. Just as a matter of fact, just so you all know, this is session 3. So we're here to talk about business growth, survival, and sustainability. And with me, I humbly serve as your moderator for this session, and I have 5 amazing panelists to the right of me. You will get to know each of them individually, but they are all amazing leaders here in DeKalb County and throughout the region. And again, it is my honor to present them and also ask them some questions as we get started this morning. So I'll get right into it. So we know that starting a business is one challenge, but especially in our time today, and also other times in our history, being resilient and being able to survive, and not only survive but grow as a small business, is fundamentally important, but is also a challenge. Myself and the folks on this panel are here to alleviate those challenges as best as we can. So today and this morning, we hope to provide some insight on how we can be supportive in your journey, and how you can think about it as a business owner being successful, not only in this climate, but also climates that will follow us. And our panel today brings perspectives from business ownership, workforce development, education, community chambers, and accelerated programs. And together we'll explore strategies and resources that can help our businesses not just survive, but again, build for the future. So again, I'm super excited to introduce these folks. So in the interest of time, we're going to get right into it. And some of our panelists have decks that they want to give a presentation to. But I do want to take this brief moment. I want to make sure all 5 panelists get an opportunity to say their names and the companies that they represent, just real briefly. So Erin, we'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Eigelhart. I'm with the Start Me Accelerator and Emory University's Coast Guard Business School.
Thank you, Erin.
Good morning, Lauren Green. I'm with WorkSource DeKalb. We are the local workforce board for DeKalb County.
Okay, there. Well, hey, the microphones are on and working. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Tavares Holston. I'm the president of Georgia Piedmont Technical College, DeKalb County's Technical College.
Good morning, Veronica Maldonado Torres, president and CEO of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
My name is Earl Walker. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, Creative Director for MS360 Tucker.
All right, thank you all. So Erin, let's jump right into it. So Erin has been kind enough to provide a deck. And you have the clicker, Erin. Just tell us again more about Start Me and just introducing yourself to the crowd.
Hi, everyone. I know we're making up time, so I will try to go really fast. Clicking through, maybe not even the right direction. So Start Me is a free 4-month program for entrepreneurs. We operate in 4 communities in Metro Atlanta, 2 in Fulton County, serving Atlanta's South Side and West Side, and then 2 in DeKalb County, serving the East Lake to Edgewood corridor, and then Clarkston, Avondale, Tucker. We serve small, or really what are technically micro businesses, so 1 to 5 employees, including the founders, typically less than $50,000 in startup capital, generally a lot less than $50,000 in startup capital, but they're all tied to those particular communities. So they live in that community, or they work in that community, they attend a local faith institution, they have children in the local schools. Individually all micro, but collectively have a really significant impact on the economic and social vibrancy of those places. In each case, Emory's Coast-Guard Business School partners with local nonprofits. We build, tailor, and deliver a local program. So we're meeting in schools and community centers, serving entrepreneurs from those communities. And we're industry agnostic. So we're serving all the makers and bakers and fixers and doers in and around those communities. In each of those cohorts, what we aim to bring is really what kind of at a basic level all of the entrepreneurs are going to need. So 14 weeks of really foundational, actionable business training, hands-on supportive mentors and coaches, a room of peer entrepreneurs who support and guide you through that journey, and then early stage peer selected grant capital. And then we continue to surround and support those entrepreneurs through ongoing alumni programming. Collectively, we've served just over 500 businesses. We've invested about $500,000 in peer-selected grant capital. And while they are all micro, collectively, They generate about $33 million in annual revenue, and they create or retain about 1,000 jobs in local communities. And so they're really creating opportunities for income generation and wealth accumulation. They're creating jobs, they're occupying storefronts, they're serving as role models, and perhaps most critically, they're serving the needs of people who live and work in those communities. They adapt to the needs of those neighbors and of those residents, and they're really critical to that vibrancy of those places.
Thank you for that, Erin. You're doing amazing work, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate that presentation. So I want to jump into a quick question here. So from your perspective and with your experience, what are some of the common factors that contribute to the survival of a business being able to survive?
It's a good question. You know, I think we have this narrative about entrepreneurship that it's really empowering and it's passion driven and you're following your dreams, and that's definitely true. But it also does entrepreneurs a bit of a disservice. I think entrepreneurship is really empowering, but can also be really lonely and scary and hard. And it can also be really hard to be vulnerable when you're talking about your business. And I think we've normalized hiding away some of those pieces that feel really hard. So, you know, going back to the question, I think entrepreneurs need three things in abundance in order to really survive and thrive. So you need business knowledge. That's always changing and evolving based on where you are with your business, what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in and around federal policy, what's happening at a local level. But really, at a basic level, the skills necessary to run a business where you are and where you're trying to go. Capital. Every business is going to need some kind of capital to start and scale. But then you need networks. You know, I think you heard a lot about this in the fireside chat, and it's finding the network that resonates with you, and that also is going to change with your business. So these are the groups that you lean on, or the individuals that you lean on during those good times, but also during those hard or those uncertain times. It's your fellow entrepreneurs who you hopefully can really learn from. Many of them have hit roadblocks along the way, and hopefully you can skip some of those roadblocks by learning from them. But also they understand the journey that you're on. They understand that it feels great to pursue your dream, but also that it can be lonely and hard. And they're there for you in that. And then, you know, your mentors and your local other small business support organizations that are there to support you. So, and I think going back to it, it's that the knowledge networks and capital piece that grow and evolve with you as your business grows and evolves.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Green, I see you have a deck. If you had the clicker, you want to go briefly through your deck?
Sure. So, and I don't know how I can look forward and read and look back. So just bear with me, all right? I'll try to do that. But just to say, from an introduction standpoint, we are the local workforce board, and mostly, you know, when asked to participate, I had to say, wow, okay, what am I actually going to be doing here, right? But when the CEO's office reach out, you always say yes, right? And then you figure out a way, right? You figure a solution. Why do I say that? Because we're funded by the Department of Labor. We support adults, dislocated workers, so people who've recently been laid off or disconnected from their place of employment, and also youth. I mean, that's primarily what we do, really toward preparing them with training so that they can move in to a career. So how does that work for businesses? How does the board support businesses? So thinking about that, right? Being a resource. So particularly if you're looking to hire individuals, right? So we'll talk a little bit, and the deck kind of revolves around that a little bit. So, and that's backwards, and this is forward, right? All right. So services for businesses. Just saying, WorkSource DeKalb really offers a wide range of services. Work experience, we'll talk about that. Registered apprenticeships, so now the movement and this administration is toward preparing apprentices, and not just in the construction trade industries, across all occupations, right? That's incremental wage growth, preparing people. So figuring out how we partner, right, with businesses and institutions to prepare tomorrow's workforce. Employee recruitment, assistance, right? People use Indeed and all these services, and that's a cost, I believe, right? But, as a local workforce board, you can always reach out and work with us, and we'll help you find that talent, right? So that's a consideration. Rapid response, and one of our team members will be giving a presentation later this afternoon, I think 12:40 p.m. if we're on time, and talk about what rapid response is. And so when a large companies do their layoffs, it's about what supportive services that we can provide to assist that, but also aversion. When we're forecasting, when we know that a company knows that they're going to be making a change, whether it's a year, 6 months down the road, how do we prepare that workforce that might be affected? Maybe there's an upscaling of that workforce so that they can transition to those new roles, or how they transition to other roles too, right? And then employer training services. So, we typically use those Department of Labor dollars to do on-the-job training experiences and worker experiences, so that they can also do that, on-the-job, work as well. So, but again, it's training, skills development, new, existing employees, and misinformation, of course, again, labor market tools, so we know where the occupation, where the jobs are. So when people come in, they're just like, well, I want to do this, but is there going to be demand down the road for that, right? So that's additional resources we provide. Again, the work experience, the team affectionately refers to as a WEX, but this is an opportunity for folks to get that on-the-job training. We kind of supplement that. Objectively, I say anything that we like to do or anything I like to be involved in, I think the work that we like to do is really preparing people to really, transition into the workforce. So although we may support that, those initial wage dollars for that on-the-job training, it is with the hope that, they immerse or kind of move into your workforce and you observe. But this is an opportunity for you to, to train them, for them to get exposed. So, this benefits are, again, it helps with reduction in hiring costs. Then, we're, again, part of that pipeline talent development there. And then I've heard people talk about customized training. That's something we do in partnership. So I've been in Georgia and learning this ecosystem for about 3 months. I've already had a couple connections with the technical college, and that's what we do, right? We collaborate, we pair resources, so we prepare, and assist employers by, upscaling this workforce. And again, this is a positive community impact here because, when you're participating in a WEX, you are, helping with, the residents and supporting the residents of DeKalb, but you're also, helping individuals gain experience, gain new skills, and be able to transition into the workforce. Additionally here, again, just benefits for businesses, and maybe, I think you're going to ask me a question. We prepare these things, right? So what I want to say is, there is a new direction for apprenticeships, and I think the benefits here is that, apprentices are paid employees who formally are trained on the job and certified for a particular industry, right? There is, you're skilling employees, you're increasing and I have to, my vision is not that best, so I'm going to use that here. You were strengthening employer retention, which is important, because when we talk about sustainability, right? That's part of the issue, because when you lose somebody, you've got that gap, and your capacity to serve, and that definitely is an impact on your business, right? So one thing about, apprentices is that the whole training, you're strengthening, they're getting buy-in and learning, and so you do that because, you're thinking about longevity, right? You're thinking about someone that's going to make that impact to your business by being there, right? Being stable, right? So higher productivity is there, and again, we want to increase our diversity. That's something that's been talking about that, and that's just not just in, our genders, our different cultural differences, our different skills. All those things add, to I think the capacity, the strength of our workforce and our business as well. So, additionally, I just want to add here that this is where you can contact us, and we'll probably, obviously shameless plug for us, but our contact information. And I think as we talk a little bit more about how you connect with us, we can work with you as a business to, help you promote your opportunities. We can do on-site, because what do we have? We can touch people. right? Because people come to us because they're looking for opportunity. They're looking to be trained. They're looking for employment opportunities. And so they say, I need to hire people, but I can't find them, right? So we're that resource, that free resource that you can utilize to help find talent.
So thank you for that, Mr. Green, and I want to stay there a little bit. So let's talk more about resources and finding talent. So
Sure.
as a small business owner, as a business owner, looking to expand, I have a successful product or a service, and the next step for growth would be adding to my staff. How can you, if I don't have the capacity to enhance my workforce, what advice would you have for a business owner?
Yeah, I think just as I covered, I mean, making that contact. Like I'm not in a position to tell business owners how to do business, right? In my prior work, we help with the Business Academy, so we help develop new entrepreneurs, right? Helping to develop their business plan and get in position. But all the resources here at this table and today are the kind of resources that help you, build your business. But us is we're that connection to the workforce, right? So we're out in the community. We're connecting with people. We're building a database. They register with us through the state, for training. But they're also the people that we're going to reach out to when we have those available employer connections. One thing that I'm really big on is really industry and sector events. Job fairs are great. They're great resources. But I believe in being intentional and having hiring events. And so, we can be that free resource that, hey, whether it be virtual, whether it be in person, we're also looking to expand our database that employers can register in and post positions to reach out and find talent, whether it be looking at resumes, contacting, and even referrals. So I think that, that is the viability of what we can be, for employers to be the resource.
Thank you. Dr. Holston, so tell us a little bit about Georgia Piedmont Technical College. And I would say at least 3 times per week, I have a conversation with someone, and I have to tell them about the great asset that GPTC is to the community. So tell us a little bit more about the programs and resources that fit within what we're talking about this morning.
Well, thank you for that opportunity, and in summation, it's the greatest technical college on the planet. But beyond that, trying to stay relevant to the crowd. What we do is at Georgia Piedmont, we're a 2-year technical college. We are DeKalb County's technical college. We serve DeKalb, Rockdale, and Newton counties specifically. And so all of the training, all of the work that we do is tailored to make sure that we're meeting the local workforce need. Our mission is actually transforming lives through workforce development. And oftentimes, when you think about a college, you think about degrees. And look, let me tell you this. We deal in training. We're all about helping people get skills. That might result in a degree, it might result in a certification, but what we're really after is making sure that people are prepared for the work. Bless you, yeah. That people are prepared for the work that wakes them up, and thinking about the work that gets them up every morning. As small business owners, leaders here, you get into this because you get up and you say, hey, I have something I want to offer the world. You want to focus on doing something, providing a service, or making a thing and providing a product. And so understanding that, in a small business, there's 2 parts of it. There's the doing and the making of the thing, and then there's the marketing and the selling of the thing. And so that's when I'm thinking about this crowd. Mr. Green's already mentioned it. We do a lot of customized training, so you don't have to enroll in college to get the skills that are needed. And I know for every small business, you basically need 3 types of skills that at least have these people in your life. You need a lawyer, you need an accountant, and you're also going to need a banker. So you're going to have to understand those skills that come along with that. And I know a lot of you are the banker, you are the lawyer, you are the accountant. Stay away from the law part. But either way, the idea is, how do we help you get skills? How do we give you access to people that can help your businesses grow? One of the greatest metrics of success, and I'll shut up and let Veronica do her thing, but one of our greatest metrics of success is whenever people leave our college, and I'm really thinking about our 4-credit programs, 99.9 99.5% now of our students, when they leave us, they have a job in the field and they're prepared. And in fact, when they leave us, if they come to your business and you hire them as your accountant and you say, this person I don't even know where they learned in school, you can send them back and we'll train them for free. So I say that to emphasize that the training that we provide, we stand behind, and we take a lot of pride in that. So I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you, Dr. Holston. So not only do we have one of the best technical colleges being represented in the room, we have one of the best, arguably the best chamber being represented.
I said the
in room.
best, just for clarity.
Oh, the best. So we have arguably the best chamber representative in the room. And so, Veronica, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk more about the chamber, but specifically, I do want you to answer this question. What type of new government regulations are currently affecting our small businesses?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about that earlier, but thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And we've got an all-star panel here today. I'm excited, and thank you guys for the work that you're doing day in and day out. Because as a chamber, you know, our job is to also connect to people like you who can support our small businesses, not only with programs that we create, but externally with partners like you all. And again, I want to reiterate, we have a great partnership with the DeKalb Chamber. So in case Frankie's around here and you said the best chamber, I just want to be careful about that. We're great partners, and we're grateful for that. And aren't you the chair? He's the chair. Good Lord. So thank you. We are definitely the best Hispanic chamber in the country. I'll say that, and the state. But you know, I've got some notes here because things are changing, you know, day in and day out around regulations and that are affecting small business. I think there's a couple of things to really talk about here today. One is tort reform passed in the last legislative session. And, you know, regardless of where you are on that particular issue, the reality is our small businesses were heavily affected by frivolous lawsuits. And while there are valid lawsuits, there have been unfortunate actors that kind of take it above and beyond. And that affects us as residents of Georgia in our insurance and premium rates and the ability to attract talent. True, you know, it's connected to the tact and the pipeline, and assuring and insuring our businesses. And so that is I think a move in the right direction. We have 159 counties in the state of Georgia, and almost each and every one of them has a chamber, and we all were unanimously behind tort reform. So we hope to see some change when it comes that will impact you, hopefully, positively. We had many businesses that had a lot of lawsuits against them, and no one plans. Y'all know you work on your budget to run your business. No one has $120,000 lying around to see if you know get an unfortunate lawsuit or something that happens on your premise. So premise liability was a big one. The other one for us to consider here is let's see here, one big beautiful bill. You know, we're still trying to impact and dissect a lot of what's going on in that bill. There are opportunities in that bill that we need to be mindful of small businesses, but just a couple of things for you to be knowledgeable about regarding the 1099 reporting. Starting now, businesses have to file the 1099-K if they receive 200 transactions totaling at least $20,000. And using the reporting thresholds for the form 1099 MIC and MISC and 1099 NEC, that's going to increase from $600 to $2,000 in 2026. Remittances, so folks sending money to countries in, you know, outside countries. January 1st, 2026, 1% excise tax will apply for any electronic transfers. So that's something to be knowledgeable. There are some institutional exceptions. Payroll and tax policy. Where's the CPAs and the tax preparers in the room? Where are you? Okay, are you here? Anybody here? Okay, make sure you have a very good CPA and tax person supporting you. There's a lot of changes. Taxable payroll limit increased from 176,000 and in 2025 up to 168,000, or from 168,000 to 176,000. Retirement and mileage limits, the 401k contribution limit raised to 23,000. Business mileage reimbursement increase from 67% to 70%, to 70 cents, 67 cents to 70 cents. Okay, not percent, cents. I would chalk it up to me no
Reimbursement,
English,
yeah.
but I speak perfect English. So, there's a lot around the corporate transparency requirements, mandates businesses to disclose beneficial owners, and so that took place January 1st. There is some litigation in place, so that's the other thing, that while there's regulations that have proposed and others passed, this is a time and a climate to be mindful of what actually passes versus what influences behaviors to change with proposed regulations and if they impact. So that's kind of another thing for businesses to be mindful of, things that may be proposed that may not officially pass and things that kind of come back. And if you can understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. So we just got to be mindful to how does behavior change with proposed regulations that impact business or consumers. So let's see what else we have here. The click to cancel rule, making canceling subscriptions as simple as signing up. The enforcement has been, yes, delayed, but if you are serving your clients, you may want to consider being, authentic and transparent about the ability to do that, even though that's still up for grabs. It's the integrity behind it. So you may be showing more, value to your clients and those to a little bit of transparency there. So very interesting on that front. Junk fees, requiring transparent upfront pricing for services like tickets and lodging, et cetera. So that did take effect May 12th. Let's see here. And of course, tariffs, which is one of my other questions. So
Thank you, Veronica.
that deserves a whole
It does.
day.
It
Yeah,
does.
we can talk about tariffs, I understand that.
Earl, let's talk about it.
All right.
Look, Earl is a DeKalb County business owner for over 30 years. I'm gonna say that one more time. Over 30 years of business owner.
I have the scars.
So you are a young man by all measures, but you are an OG business owner. So I think there's a lot we can learn from you. So let's talk about it, Earl. Let's talk about growth and sustainability. You know about both of us.
Yes.
So give us some highlights here, or some strategies around it.
Can I share a brief story?
So long as it doesn't take more than 10 minutes.
Gotcha, okay. From early days growing up in Chicago, Earl frequently watched sign painters paint signs. When asked if he wanted to learn how to paint signs, Earl eagerly replied, yes. Unfortunately, his family could not afford the training. At the age of 10, I made a promise to myself that one day I was going to make signs. After graduating with a fine arts degree in Chicago, I found working in the arts was difficult. So I refocused in my career into retail management. He was unaware that this 16-year career in management would later prove beneficial in life. After working at Macy's, I decided to pick up a job at the Marietta Daily paper doing markup and layout ads. A local sign company picked me up because they liked the ad that I laid out for them, and I was working for them. And one day my father-in-law came to me and he said, and again, please excuse the language, but this is what he asked me. He said, how long are you going to allow them to rape you of your talent? Whoa. I want you to write a business plan and come back to me in a year. I took time, I studied the industry, I wrote the plan, came back to him, he said, let's go to the bank. Went to the bank laughed at us literally and said, you're not asking for enough. My father-in-law got upset and he said, forget this, I'm going to mortgage my house and help you with your dream. Fast forward 27 years later, I'm here today. So I want you guys to ask me the real, raw questions. I've been through 9/11, been through the financial crisis, and thank God I got through COVID. So please, do not be afraid to ask the questions. I got a list because I'm going to ask you questions. What's your credit? What's your cash flow? Do you even understand what cash flow is? I was talking to someone once, and they came to me and they said, you know, the lender said that they wouldn't finance the loan. I said, do you know why? No, because they said you won't be around to pay for it. So again, I want us to take off the mask. You know, we've heard of imposter syndrome. If you don't ask the question today in this session, you're only hurting yourself. So again, I want you to ask me the raw questions. I'll answer them for you. All right? How much more time I
No,
got?
you're done, thank you. And so that was great, and like I say, the OG business owner here, so please, don't be shy about asking questions. This is a resource panel. So you talked about some of those challenges earlier, so I want to go back to you, Aaron, when we're talking about challenges. Discuss with us a little bit about the Start Me Accelerator at Emory University and how it helps building small businesses overcome challenges, building small businesses.
Yeah, so I mean, we try to help entrepreneurs lay a solid foundation, and some of that includes helping you have a really good understanding of who you serve and how you serve them, where to find them, where the money comes from, where it's going, how to tell your story to different audiences, but also what other resources are out there. We're not going to be the only resource that serves all of your needs, but knowing what else is in and around the ecosystem and connecting you to those capital providers or those technical support providers, I think is a really critical part of our work. You know, it's a big sandbox and we all play together. And so it's not a competition if you go through one program or you go through another. A lot of us know each other pretty well and we'd say, you know, actually there's a better program that can help and support you. Let me connect you over to that team. So, you know, I think that we try to serve entrepreneurs by being that space where they get that knowledge, where they can be vulnerable and connect with other people, where they have access to that early stage capital, where we can continue to provide more choose your own adventure style ongoing support, but also where we can then help you connect with those resources in DeKalb County, in City of Atlanta, in the broader metro area that can help you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So staying in the vein of challenges, Veronica, I'm gonna come back to you. Let's talk about the impact of tariffs on small businesses, and what step can a business owner take to sustain their business during this time?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been having lots of Hello, how are you? Okay, here I am. We've had a lot of conversations around, you know, the tariff. We have pretty big companies in our backyard that have had to pivot, and again, there's opportunities, but we're seeing some folks really impacted by the tariffs and either having to raise their prices and bring it to the consumer. We've seen people with the opportunity in trying to bring their suppliers, like the suppliers that you have overseas, depending on what they've been tariffed by, you know, what the tariff is for them, and the increase that then comes to the small business. Furniture store, one of our furniture stores, had to kind of pivot to U.S. Suppliers, and that either works or it doesn't work for you, depending on what you offer. But, you know, one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of businesses also leveraging the opportunity of working internationally with other countries that are closer to us in sourcing products and opportunities. Actually, one of Panama just became a member of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber. You know, Dominican Republic is also offering incentives for folks. Colombia is offering incentives for folks. So, you know, right now, as a small business, some of the steps that you need to take is reviewing your supply chain and your customer base to identify, you know, where the tariff risks exist for you. Diversifying your supplier base, looking for the U.S. Or non-tariff country sourcing. So we've been seeing a lot of folks shifting in that. Communicating with your customers, being transparent, you know, about the price point, and then emphasizing value. You may also need to consider diversifying in other products or services in order to kind of reimagine what the next looks like. We've seen folks work on pre-ordering inventory before taking hits and key materials to manage some of those spikes. And then, you know, of course, a lot of this is also in court, so things have been changing. So staying abreast of the latest and the greatest. And then, of course, you know, we're asking folks, stay connected to your chambers and your advocacy groups. I am not the expert on this. We have a lobbyist that works for us, and we are in partnership with the Georgia Chamber. And so we have great white papers that we can provide to our small businesses to support you guys in making pivots and changes, but also seeing where are the areas of opportunity as these shifts and pivots arise.
Hey, Dorian, could I add to that? In my industry as a sign provider, we deal with a lot of aluminums, paper. A good percentage of my equipment comes from China, Japan, and as Veronica mentioned, we are in constant, conversation with our suppliers. However, make sure you do your research because some people may start escalating prices just because they're
Right.
using it
That's true.
as a tariff scare. So, again, this is why you have to, like you said, keep in regular contact so you can get the white papers to truly understand exactly what's going on with tariffs.
No, thank you for that addition. So just so you all know, folks, so we got about 15 minutes left. I want to take 5 more minutes here with the panelists. And then I want to offer it up to you all just to ask any questions you might have. So Dr. Holston, we've been talking about external challenges. Let's go back a little bit more internal. Tell us a little bit more about your small business and entrepreneurship training program at Georgia Piedmont Technical College and how this program can assist small businesses, especially during this time.
I'm more than happy to. And let me just, I'm going to take a moment of privilege because something that came up talking about internal, but all of this is tied together. The external factors have an impact on the way that we provide training. And what I'm thinking about are the people who you employ, the people who you're serving, thinking about the one big beautiful bill. I think sometimes when we see these things come through, all these regulations come through, we react, and I get that. But my disposition is try to find the opportunity in that. And one of the considerations that I'm thinking about from a training perspective for the people that we serve and those who work for you is I'm thinking about, I know there's some language in there where it talks about you have to complete workforce training to have access to some of the things that I need to live. And so, when I think about that, this entire ecosystem, it has an impact. I'm thinking about how, the college can be one of those training providers. I'm thinking about partnerships we have with Workforce DeKalb and so many others. And so a part of that, this environment we're all trying to navigate, and it is constantly evolving. It's all interconnected. But going back to your question, our small business training, there's a few opportunities that we have within our college. Again, of course we have a business degree and, all these things where you can get these skills. But I really want to focus in on what has been mentioned, customized training. Let's say that if you have need of, I'm just thinking of something, accounting, QuickBooks. So if you need some QuickBooks training, you don't know how to take care of the checking account in the ledger, you can contact us, and I'll go ahead and share my contact information. I'm running out of cards. Holston T at gptc.edu. So if you say, look, Tavares, I need I need a 1 week or 1 day or whatever training, we can actually listen to your needs. We have faculty and staff and providers that we partner with where we can actually deliver that specific training that you need within the time constraints that you have. I don't expect all of you business owners to sit in a 15-week semester course to try to get what you. Ain't nobody got time for. Can I say that? Ain't nobody got time for that. we have things to do, and I say that I'm actually a small business owner myself, but I'm trying to think about what makes sense. Within the context for which we're speaking, but customized training, it can be QuickBooks, it might be marketing, social media. Another thing that I'm thinking about in that is, since I mentioned social media, we have social media experts in training. If that's something you want to look at, how do I get my name and my brand out there? How do I put my value proposition out there? We can help provide you with that training. But here's the other thing that I'll also mention. Because we have students learning and engaging in this work, our faculty are looking for opportunities for them to be placed in said businesses to get some experience, to give some voice. I didn't say free labor. We don't do that here. But there's opportunities to engage in that. But the thing I want you to take away from just this moment I had is, if you have a customized or if you have a specific type of training that you need, And I'm not talking about just degrees and diplomas and certifications, but we're more than willing to partner with you to provide a specific, targeted business type of training that meets your needs.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Green, I'm gonna bring it back to you on WorkSource DeKalb. So you have a great audience here today. As business owners, is there any one takeaway you'd like for them to have with respect to WorkSource DeKalb and the work that you all are doing?
Yeah. You know, the one thing about the public workforce system is that we don't advertise, right? You know, and so hopefully you've learned who we are today. If you didn't know, you know, we are here to engage businesses, but also develop the workforce. So we're a talent pool, you know, and we're a free talent pool, right? So, and truly that, right? I mean, there's no cost for the services we provide, right? So, and if we're not that, we're also a collaborative partner with everyone else in an ecosystem. You'll probably hear that word, and you'll hear it a lot today, but that's all the people who are in the orbit here that interact and work and engage together. So the one takeaway is that, you know, we're the public system that you can contact if you need to post opportunities, if you want to partner and do something on site to attract talent, or if you want to upscale your workforce, right? So that's an opportunity to partner to do that.
Absolutely, and to your point, it's because you don't advertise, I want everybody to have this contact information again. Fantastic resource, and this is how you contact Mr. Green and also WorkSource DeKalb. So with that being said, we got 9 minutes left, good people. Do we have any questions? I see one up in the room. Do you mind walking up to the microphone, if you don't mind? And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. State your name, your company. It's your time to shine.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am Brooklyn with 2 N's. I have a business. It's called For Us, and it's literally for us. I started in 2020. Sarah Jakes with the Girl Get Up word is what inspired me to get started. So I am a school counselor, clinical mental health therapist. I have a podcast for moms. It serves as a support group because, as you know, moms need support.
Yes,
and
we
moms
do.
know we need support. So it's literally a realistic platform where we come. I have different guests come on. They talk about real life situations. We've talked about money. We've talked about what it was like our lives before having kids. We talk about marriages. We talk about what it looks like when we don't want to keep having kids. So very candid conversations. But that's the podcast. I also have a moisturizer for eczema. Really helps eczema. It works, I guarantee it, but I'm not getting the sales that I need. It also helps with sunburn. And then I have a book. Like I said, I'm a counselor, school counselor, therapist. So the book is to get the kids in urban areas, mostly felon schools, residential facilities, and like juvenile halls. It's a book for them to read. The book takes place in a school setting, and it's different coping skills that I'm giving kids through the characters. I have a lot. I have a huge heart. I'm very passionate. I'm an advocate for the people. I love what I do. I love who I am. I love what God is doing through me. I just need a spark. And I don't know which avenue is going to be the one that takes off first, but I feel like Tabitha Brown is like the closest person I could think of to relate to, because it literally took her videos, and then next you know it, she's doing TV shows. Then she has seasonings. Then she has all these other things. So I don't know. I guess the question I want to ask you guys is, in your field, and I don't know how much you guys can help with this, but I don't know which one should I go with more, or which basket should I place maybe more of my eggs in so that I can.
Let me ask you this
Nice.
question. I want you to think back when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. What did you like to do?
Hang out with my family. I'm from Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay, I'm from Chicago. My wife's a mail cart.
Yep.
So
Yep. That's the only reason why I said it. Yeah, South Shore. Yeah.
Okay.
Years popcorn.
Only reason why I asked that is dig deep to find out what it is that you're passionate about. I've shared with people through the years, find out what you're passionate about and learn how to monetize it. But dig deep down inside. I'm glad that now you teach in the school system.
School counselor.
So, and you have a book to help young kids, right? Mm-hmm. And then you also do skincare. I understand that eczema, I deal with that as well.
Me
I
too, yeah.
understand. So you care about people.
I'm an advocate.
Yes. You just answered your question.
I love that. Veronica, what you got?
Yeah,
So, first of all, I think you are the spark, but I
for
understand
sure.
what you mean by that, and I commend you. God has obviously given you a lot of creativity and ability to pour out into others, and when we come across people like you, we get so excited because this is who we want to champion. It's really the person. And what I kind of hear though, just like a little bit behind all the stuff, you've already done a lot of the hard work, like a book, a product, a this. So my first couple of questions is like, where's the market research on either one of those lines? Because each one is kind of its own thing. And then I think what, my buddy Earl over here is saying is like, what's the connective tissue between what you've got going on in those different products? My other thing is, okay, market research, where's the business plan? So it sounds like, by the way, you are not alone if you don't have a business plan. So in a former life, not too distant ago, I used to lead the nation's first state-sponsored mentor-protege program called the Georgia Mentor-Protege Connection.
Okay.
And it was to accelerate, incubate, and scale $1 million to $30 million businesses. The majority of those folks didn't have a strategic plan or a business plan. They had a lack of infrastructure. Today, they are balling, and doing great things together and building businesses. So I just want to disarm that fact of I don't have my stuff together, which is not the case. It's just you've got resources like the SBDC in your backyard is your taxpayer dollars at work that can help you create your business plan or your strategic plan or help with market research. I see there is an accelerator program here, which you need to look at the requirements and see the fit, but they could probably be incredible resource to help you aggregate and put all those things together, like Smart Me, and actually there are many different programs that exist. So people are looking for you to help you be successful, and never ever underestimate the power of the SBDC, which is your taxpayer dollars at work. They can help with the market research. So I said a lot to you. You don't necessarily have to answer all my questions, but if you don't have those things in place, I would start there.
Okay.
Because sometimes what happens to us as creators and innovators is we have a lot of amazing ideas. But which one is the one, depending on the market research, that you can start to deploy first?
Okay.
I also see you as your own brand. I mean,
Yeah.
your podcast, you're this. So my family has a communications firm. My mother happens to be in the audience at BCom as well. So if you need a whole brand support, I'm just putting a little... This is my selfish
y'all
moment.
Make sure y'all
And
network
then
in this
this,
room.
you
I
know,
don't see anybody passing
but,
cards talking.
but part of that is like understanding the whole brand, right? And how do you package that? And then, look down the line in 3 years. What's the annual revenue that you want your business, regardless of whatever is there, to generate? And then you start creating the plan back. So I said a lot, and I know there's Smart Me down here, but you keep on because you're the spark. You just need to focus.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank
for
you.
that, Veronica. So, Mr. Green, I know you had a comment, right? Let's
I mean, she talked about spark. She was spark. I mean, I was like, wow, right? So, and
Is it the podcast just for moms?
I mean-
Dad needs help too.
No, we
I
have
mean,
the dads come on
well,
too.
I mean,
we
the
definitely
thing,
have dads come on.
she started by saying she was a business owner, and I heard an entrepreneur. All right, somebody who has multiple streams and interest, right? And as Veronica said, I think just tapping into resources to help you, direct those, right? But you're more than off the start line. You're in the game and stuff. So. Good luck. You're gonna do great things. And I'm from Chicago as well, so we'll have to connect.
Thank you so much for your questions. We have so
She
much passion.
start me?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Does she have anything
Aaron,
to
you
do
had a
with
comment?
You're
Okay.
I have y'all's contact information. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Love
you.
the passion. So on the next question, name, business, and question. Let's get through this.
Kate had a story. So, my name is Anita Davis, and I do have a question. First of all, the name of my company is Praxis Strategic Solutions, and I'm a fractional AI integrator. And I haven't heard any of
true.
you guys talking about AI yet.
Yes.
But what I do is I train,
Yes.
I'm a consultant, and I help companies figure out how to implement AI in their organizations. And so the question is, how are you guys integrating AI, and which one of you needs a speaker, a paid speaker, trainer, and consultant?
I love it, I
So,
love it. Brief responses.
Anita, we actually have launched 2 cohort programs with our organization to help businesses leverage artificial intelligence. And you're right, when we're talking about sustainability and scaling, it's really everywhere you go that you hear about AI. We're actually leveraging and building out a pilot for an AI agent so that folks can come, okay, and we can definitely talk, people need you. But that's what we're doing, and so I will let my panel mates share their thoughts.
Yeah, I know from our standpoint, you know, because AI is so prevalent, we're actually offering training in that. However, from our college's standpoint, we're looking at what are some ways that we can leverage AI to do some of those basic functions that our team are doing. So whether that's in communication and the way that the frequency and the type of communication. So it's already at work. We leverage it, and we're looking for more opportunities for that. So I encourage you to keep it going.
I mean, I think that we're going down a similar path to everybody else, but I think what I would say is I think that your skill and expertise is going to be super critical in the coming months. I think a lot of people are sort of either realizing they're behind the times or they're spinning their wheels, researching this independently, and they need the help in order to efficiently integrate that into their business operations and allow them to focus on the aspects of the business that can't be automated.
Thank you so much for your answer. I did want to mention 2,700 hours of personal upskill training I've already invested in myself to help businesses upskill your teams and employees.
Anita, you're awesome. You're always reinventing and at the edge. I've known Anita for years. You're amazing.
I think I had a third yes. Again, briefly, that was great timing we did, and folks, we can get through these last 2 questions. Name, business company, who you represent, and then panelists, please respond briefly.
Okay, quick question. Hi, I'm Pamela Lyle, and I'm in construction, and my company is Swank LLC. So my question is really for you, Mr. Walker, because you said you had been in business for almost 40 years. And I wanted to find out how you navigated during COVID, and particularly now that a lot of brick and mortar businesses are kind of like not really doing that well, and some of them are being forced to close. Are you pivoting? Because making signs for businesses that are not really renting retail spaces, because my challenge for me is that I'm bidding on, we do framing primarily. So my team is bidding on jobs in subdivisions, and then a lot of the builders will start and they'll build like 4 or 5 houses. And now because of the banks with the interest rates and all that, so then they stop. So now we're at a point where it's like, it's lagging. It's like, okay, we do a house, then we think we have all these other houses, then we don't have the houses. So I'm trying to figure out how to pivot so that way my team is not just sitting idle in between what's happening with just the real estate development and the industry itself.
Okay, now, as you mentioned in COVID, you're absolutely right. That was a key turning point for us. And in our business, I always look at where can I solve a problem. And during COVID, we needed information. Signage is everywhere. So we found ourselves making the little decals that you saw all over the place. We contacted every entity that needed decals. We started manufacturing the shields. Now, in your industry, there's a ton of apartments that are being built.
Okay, so here's the
Framing.
But here's the catch on that. A lot of these contractors and these projects that you see going up, they have been in the works for, this is not, they didn't just start years. So I follow zoning hearings, so I go to different zoning meetings and I'll reach out to the developers and be like, hey, I was at the zoning hearing, and I reach out that way, but most of them already have their teams in
They do.
place. So it is really, really challenging. And I don't do the estimating because I just send my guy out to do it, and then he'll come back and say, this is what it is, and we'll bid. So I'm winning some of the bids, but the situation is that the development isn't happening because people aren't getting the loans. And so now you don't have houses that start at $250,000 anymore. Everything's in the upwards. So it's like people aren't, it's just,
Now, Key, that I'm hearing, do you do framing or do you build houses?
we do framing. So what happens is a builder will reach out and say, hey, I need contractors for framing. And they'll tell us how many units they want, I'll take a look at the blueprints, and then we'll send the team out to give an estimate to actually bid on it. So if we win the bid, then yeah, we'll get the job. But sometimes after you win the bid, the job stops in the middle of it because they don't have the funding or they don't have the commitment. So all of a sudden, you may be doing, like right now, I've got a job that's supposed to start in January with 24 townhomes. Fingers crossed on that. So usually what happens is you start and you build 1 or 2 townhomes because they've got 2 people under contract. And then if they don't have anybody else under contract, they're not building the rest of those townhomes. So they're waiting. And then so you're sitting there like, okay, so when's this supposed to pop off? And so then you're waiting and waiting and waiting. So there's a big lag. So in that time span, I'm trying to figure out how to still generate revenue or keep my team busy while they figure out where they're gonna get their money from. Because builders have to get a line of credit to be able to build as well.
Diversification is your path forward. You know, many of the businesses in your industry, definitely during the recession, I mean, completely diversified. And now you've got several different market factors actually affecting that. But I would say, take a look and amplify out, you know, Tuck professor, you know, used to say, what is the thing that you provide and what are the adjacent areas next to it? Now, they may be super interrelated that you're in the same situation, but what other areas can you pivot to? Again, I would strongly recommend spending time going to the SBDC, you know, talking to someone with experience in the construction field and seeing what are they seeing as a trend going on in diversification of what you're doing. What can you pivot to? Right now, you're doing purely residential, correct?
No.
No. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were.
That's commercial too.
I'm sorry.
Well,
you're
we bid, so.
okay.
So this is the bidding industry. And if
Right,
this is a
right,
no,
right,
no,
right,
No, 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 then you may did 20 no's before you get a yes.
Yeah.
So you're bidding on these jobs. But what I'm telling you, what happens is most of these people that say, okay, give us a bid, they're just curious to see what you're gonna come in at because they've already gotten bids.
Right, that's a
And
true
they've already
statement.
got, right, so it's
Yeah.
like you're bidding and then it's like, I didn't get this bid, but then you find out that they already had a team and some of them are
Can
bringing
you
teams
go in
from
under,
out
as a
of state.
sub, under someone?
Yeah.
Well, they solicit the subs. They want you to come in as a sub.
Yeah.
Because the builder there's the builder and there's a developer. So the developer hires the builder and the builder hires the subs.
I would like to connect you with a friend at a construction trade association. I'm not sure if you're engaged. If you're not, I recommend it because these are conversations that they're having too, pulling together, teaming. But I've got several contacts. I'm happy to make a connection so that you can engage in having that kind of industry conversation. But then again, I always go back, taxpayer dollars at work. You know, UGA, SBDC, you know, has a lot of support for you.
But I would like you to, again, I asked that question, you don't build houses, you do framing. And
We
that's
do
what I-
framing,
that's
we
what
do drywall, we do
Okay.
Oh, wow, you just.
Yeah.
Well,
So this, but it's all intertwined.
but it's all connected.
Because
Yeah.
if the framing
Sure.
doesn't happen, the drywall's not
Yeah.
gonna happen, the
Right.
So,
floor's
Mr.
not gonna
Green,
happen.
I'm sorry,
But-
Mr. Green,
but-
go ahead, Veronica. Go
You
ahead.
know, but here is like where's the pivot at? You know, right now,
That's what
people
I'm
are
trying to
looking for
figure out.
HVAC, welders, all these trades. This man here knows all about that. You know, some of what we're seeing with some of the businesses is, okay, it may not be in direct line, but where is that next thing that's here that's needed? That there can be a quick ramp up in training to diversify and get those people taken care of. So, again, and this gentleman has a question on the back, maybe he has an answer for you. Yeah.
Sometimes we're focused on one thing. I mean, I do marketing and help people with their business and growing their business. But also, what about even creating your own team of the developer itself and then building the framing and thinking a little bit longer term? Sometimes we're so focused on the framing and the drywall.
You want me to become a developer?
Well, wait a minute. Well,
That's a lot of.
But it's possible. I want you to know it's possible.
Possible, but it's just, I mean, I've been doing this
There,
since 2009, so I'm
One thing
not
that
a
is
novice.
limited to our belief is that the way we communicate to ourselves, limit that. Then realizing, how do I lead and put a team together and looking for that 3 or 4 years? But also, what am I spending connect with it to help build that trust, get more of those contracts, and even create, because there's investors out there who want to build, who want to find the locations, and it's just connecting, and it's putting that time and effort and thinking, what is that cost for the acquisition here, and how you make the money.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, please make sure I get your card so
Right,
I
I
can
want
connect
to
you.
get you. I want to share one other thing to you. When I first started my business, I applied for a franchise, and I thought, this is too much money. I could never do that.
I started off with a franchise.
Hold up. I'm part of a franchise now. I want you to stop telling yourself what you can't do, okay?
I'm not telling.
Oh, no, it's, okay. Don't do that. All right.
I mean, I started off
told
as
you I
a
was gonna be
franchise,
raw.
and I went down the road into, I didn't start off with framing, I
Okay.
started off with painting, and it just
Gotcha.
kind of went.
There you
into
go.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what I
Here's
want.
my card, send me your
Okay,
information.
I
Yeah.
love the passion in the room, folks, and before Madam CEO herself comes in here and yanks me out, we are going to wrap this one up. Now, I do apologize to my two folks over there that have questions, but I do want y'all to take away something from all of this. You got passionate folks here at your disposal. Lean on us. How many of y'all paid to be here today? Right. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I like it.
Keep that in mind. I'm throwing shade to an event that just happened. I'm throwing a lot of shade. Because that upsets me when you got resources with folks that really care. We get our salary regardless. But we're here to support because we care. So any closing thoughts before we leave? For any of my panelists? If not,
You know, I do, and I just to the one business is you gotta connect with people because you know ideas happen in the realm of ideas, right? Diversifying, so maybe it's just not building homes, maybe it's commercial, maybe it's also going after other kind of contracts as well. But maybe you're doing all that. But again, conversation, being part of the ecosystem we talked about. Everyone should. You're now part of. We're all part of the same network now that we've met, you know, and so take advantage of it.
Veronica.
Your vulnerability here today is a superpower. That's really hard because your business is your baby and you're going to go through different seasons. And right now is an interesting season. So I want to commend everyone that asked the question, challenged us, open up. Thank you. We know you didn't start your business overnight. And so your vulnerability is going to lead to a conversation with someone in the room that didn't say anything, that may come to you with an opportunity, that may have a connection and a contact. So I want to inspire hope when sometimes it can feel a little hopeless. There's nothing like one day after another. The sun always rises. We just got to find a way, and maybe it's not going to look like what we thought it would, and that's okay too. So I just want to encourage everybody here today.
Yes.
Thank you all. So let me say, going back to what I originally stated, I got 5 amazing panelists. So please join me in celebrating and saying thank you to all. So with that being said, we're closing this down, but I do want you to know we'll be back this afternoon. So if you all want to join us again and ask questions, follow me.